Hey guys, it's Carolee. I just want to share an extra little mini episode with you every single week because I want you to know that it's possible to do this thing called living your best life and doing the thing that lights you up while being a busy mom. And I want to give you a little bit of a background, behind the scenes look at what's going on in my actual life and how I am doing this, how I'm doing the things that light me up and being a mom at the same time. So I'm going to tell you about what's going on in my life and the lessons that I'm learning. Take a listen. Let's talk about passion. Let's talk about confidence. For a really long time, well, for my whole life actually, I knew what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to sing. That's been my passion since before I could remember. Like I've been wanting to sing and sing big and sing on stages since I was really, really little. I think I had my first solo when I was 8 years old, but I really lacked the confidence. I really struggled with feeling like I had permission to do that, like feeling like I was good enough. And a lot of it was tied to my weight, frankly. I didn't feel like I looked good enough to stand on stage. And so it's taken me a really long time to understand that I am good enough just as I am. And that if I can dig deep and find that internal confidence, like that's actually what matters most. And that's what shows other people that I actually am good enough. And that, we treat other people, or we show other people how to treat us. And when you show up confident, and when you show up as a person who really loves themselves, other people just go, oh yeah, you're lovable. Like you just are, because you exude that. It's hard to wake up passion after a lot of us get in a rut and we tend to shove it down for a long time, and we don't give ourselves permission to dream. And what I have found with passion, because you say you can't do a lot of stuff that you used to do, right? And I have felt that way, not because of age, but because of my circumstances, right? Because of my kids. And we find that we have to adapt, and you can. All it takes is a little bit of creativity. And I know that you are creative. And you can find a way to adapt those passions and those dreams to the life circumstances you have now. What did you dream about when you were a kid? What was it what sets your heart on fire? Like what lights you up? And it's a question that we have to sit with. It's a question we have to ponder a little bit, because sometimes it gets really buried, and we have to sit with it for a while and let our inner child come out and go, oh yeah, when I was 5 years old, I loved to color, I love to paint, or I love to sing. And for me, I love to dress up. Dressing up has been my favorite thing since forever. Glitter and dresses and tiaras, and which is why Halloween comes around every year, and I'm dressed up to the nines. It's like glitter, princess crown, tutus, and I'm all about it. And so for a really long time, I would get all dressed up for Halloween, and then I would walk into a room and nobody else had dressed up. And that actually happened to me yesterday. I went to Toastmasters, and they were like, everybody needs to dress up for Halloween, right? Everyone dress up for Halloween. We're having our meeting. And so I dressed up because I love dressing up. And I walked into the room, and I was by far the most dressed up person there. There was another person who was a little bit dressed up. But I was very dressed up. I had my makeup all done. I had my fairy wings on. I had my big crown with the leaves and the jewels, and my makeup was all elaborate. And there was an old version of me who would have walked into that room and been really embarrassed because I didn't look like everybody else did. And instead, I'm so grateful that I was able to go, wait a minute, I love dressing up no matter what everybody else thinks. I love doing this, and I can separate who I am from who everyone, what I think everyone else is thinking, right? And that can be really difficult. So, but like for me, I I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be on stage, and I thought that that was the only way to live that dream. I thought that the only way to be a successful singer was to stand on stage and sing in front of people every night. I thought that was the only way that I could be successful with music, was night after night after night, performance after performance, never being home. And, I've got 3 kids, and it was really quickly apparent that, that couldn't be my life. And so I kind of thought that when I had kids that dream died. And so I spent about a decade trying to put that fire out. Like I just can't sing. Like I get to sing at church for Christmas and Easter, and that's it. That's it, because my dream's dead now because I've got kids and I can't be out performing every single night. I don't get to go on tour. I don't get to do theater because it's not possible as a mom, right? And so for a long time, I was just really, it hurt really bad until I finally realized that, wait a minute, there's other options. I can adapt my dream to my life. And now I write custom songs for people from home. I have a studio here in my basement, and I get to write custom songs from home with my kids. And yeah, I mean, from time to time, it's like, okay, guys, be quiet for just 5 more minutes while I record this last line. But I've adapted my dream to do so that I get to do the thing that I love. I get to express myself, and I get to talk. I get to do my podcast. I get to coach people. I get to talk to people. I get to use my voice, which is my favorite thing to do, no matter what it looks like, whether it's coaching or singing. I get to use my voice, and I get to do it from home and be mom. So it's about adapting. It's about using your skills and your passions and doing the things that light you up, and then adapting that in a way that makes you feel like you are using and being all of yourself, but you get to still, do it in your life. Like it's not about ditching everything in your life and blowing your whole life up. It's about finding a way to work around it. Because I want you guys to know that it's possible. I want you to know how amazing you are. And I want you to know that you have something that is so important to share with the world. Like, we are not here to play small. None of us is. We're not put here on this earth with all of these innate abilities, with all of these talents and these gifts and this. I mean, we all have this fire burning within us that's meant to light other candles, right? That's what it's here for. That's what it was given to you for, so that you could spread that flame and light, the rest of the world, and bring that energy to other people, because you have something unique and special inside of you that was meant to be shared. It was meant to be given. It was meant to be treasured, because it's so freaking incredible. You have something absolutely amazing inside of you, and you need to share it. Do you feel it? Do you feel that? Yeah, I feel like we forget how much we're needed in this world, because we kind of have this, that other voice in your head that like likes to come back around over and over again and tell you like that you're not needed, and to tell you that you're not important, and oh, there's so many other people who are doing that same thing that you're trying to do. And it makes you feel small, and it makes you feel like your gifts don't matter because other people are already doing it. And the truth of the matter is that voice is a liar. That voice is a liar. And you can just be like, great, thanks. for speaking up, I'm going to just ignore you now. You can just completely disregard that voice because it doesn't know what it's talking about. That voice is fear. That voice is just fear. It's the fear of stepping into your power. That's all that voice is. And it's wrong because you are unique and you have a way of speaking that only that some people need to hear. Like there are some people that they just can't understand it from those other people, and they need you to say it from your unique perspective, from your unique life history and everything that you've been through, and they need to hear those lessons coming from you. You are the only one who can change their lives. And if you don't speak up, say the things that you have the power to teach, then they are missing out on your power and your wisdom. They need you. The world loses so much when we give in to fear, when we play small. And it's so sad because fear is a liar. And it tricks us into thinking that we aren't good enough. And it tricks us into thinking that nobody wants what we have to offer. And I tell you what, I deal with it constantly. And if you actually listen to people who have like humongous careers, who are like the top of the top, who you're like, there's no way that they struggle with things like imposter syndrome, and there's no way that they deal with fear. They all do. They all do. It doesn't go away. They've just learned how to keep going anyway because they have learned that that voice is a liar, that it's not telling them the truth, and that they can just, leave it alone. Just, they don't have to listen to it. They don't have to fight it, because the more attention that you give that voice, the stronger it gets. So don't give it any attention. Just be like, thanks for speaking up, fear. I see you there. I'm gonna choose a different direction because I'm already safe. I'm already safe. I don't need you to convince me that I'm not safe, because I know that I'm already safe. There is no big dragon. And it's okay if other people dislike the thing I'm doing. I'll be okay. I'm a big girl. I'm a big girl. I can handle myself. And if I fall down, I'm going to get back up again. And if no one comes and listens to my live, that's okay. I'll be okay. I'm still safe. Right? And if the thing that I'm launching flops, that's okay too. I'm going to learn from these experiences that I like to call failures. We like to look at failure as this awful thing that feels so heavy that we can't come back from. But the truth is that the more you fail and learn from it, the better we get every time. We should be looking forward to failure because we need failure in order to progress. There really is no such thing as a failure unless you let it knock you down and you don't get back up again. It's the getting back up again that is the true success. And it's also okay to just sit there and be sad for a minute. It's not, I know I'm all about seeking sunshine, but it's okay to sit there and grieve, our loss for a minute, grieve our expectations being dashed, right? Our hopes and our dreams of this, thing not quite going the way that we hoped, because we can really get our hopes up sometimes. We can really want something to turn out a certain way. And then it can be really, really disappointing when God has different plans. But I tell you what, I know from experience that those plans are for our good and that they're going to lead to our growth. And if we could just trust that we are going to grow and grow and grow, we're going to grow. We're going to grow from these experiences if we choose to. So that's kind of my challenge to you is like, are you going to choose to grow from the things that you might have previously seen as a failure? It's a choice. I once thought that the worst thing that was ever going to happen to me was that I didn't get into the School of Music to study opera. It completely devastated me. I thought the world was ending. I had put every hope and every dream into studying opera. And I cried until there were no more tears. I couldn't sing for months. Like I literally couldn't sing because I would cry instead. Like it was like just like a sucker punch. It was so painful. And I had, how we make meanings out of things that we probably shouldn't be making meanings out of. Like I decided that not getting into the School of Music meant that I wasn't a good singer, even though the people I auditioned for actually had sent me an email going, "You were so great, do not give up. We only let like 3 people into this humongous, very elite program every year, right? We hardly let anybody in, and you were like so close." Like they went out of their way to email me, and I was so devastated that I didn't even respond to their email. I was so upset. And I ignored it entirely and completely decided that this rejection meant terrible, horrible things about myself. And it took me a while to gain perspective on the matter. But once I did, I mean, the things that finally got through to me were like, oh, hey, I don't even like opera. First of all, like, why am I trying to study opera? I don't even know. Like, I enjoy singing it, but I don't like listening to it. Is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Is to be told what to sing and what to wear and how I have to do my makeup and how I have to move on stage. That's really what I want to be a pawn on somebody else's stage with no autonomy, because that's what you do when you're in theater, when you're someone else is the costume designer, someone else is the makeup designer, somebody else is the director, and when you're the actor, you're just a pawn in their game. Like you sing, but someone else is the music director that's telling you how to sing. Like you get told how to do everything, and I'm like, wait a minute, I want to design my own costumes and my own makeup, and I want to decide what I said. Wait a minute, maybe this isn't where I belong. And then the other realization was like, wait, how am I supposed to do this with kids? Because I already had 3 kids when I did this audition. And I was like, wait, if I actually got this dream, I would be like expected to be on stages, like every night, auditioning for shows all the time, rehearsing all the time. Like, wait a minute. This was what I was dreaming of? This is what I wanted? Like, oh, maybe this was a huge blessing that I didn't get this. And then I pivoted and I went back to my roots. I went back to songwriting, which I had only stopped because I lacked the confidence, because somebody had told me I was too fat to be seen on stage. When we learn how to stop taking other people's opinions so seriously. I mean, gosh, what's that really crass phrase that everyone says? But people's opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one and they all stink. I know it's like so cliche and so crass, but I mean, people's opinions change like the wind, and they're entirely based on that one person's entire day, entire history. Like if that person had a bad day because, they didn't get enough sleep, or their dog pooped in their living room or something, like their kid pulled their hair that morning, or, they just had a bad day, they could say something awful to you, and you could be choosing to let the awful thing that they said that actually had nothing to do with you. They only said it because they had a horrible day for completely unrelated reasons. You could be letting that comment ruin your life. I know. What? Why do we take other people's opinions so seriously? Other people's opinions are almost always about themselves and what they have going on in their lives. They're not about us, they're about them. That realization is incredible. And then when you embody it, when you really embody it, which takes so much practice, and it goes back to my favorite quote, which is, people make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed, which is from Frozen. And if you haven't heard me say that before, I say it all the time. It's my favorite. It's like, if we have a bad day, we aren't the best selves that we can be, and other people have that exact same problem. So stop taking offense. Just stop taking offense. It's not helpful for you. It doesn't do them any good. It is not hurting them if you get angry at them. It just makes you have that negative energy that just drags you right on down. And don't we want to be happier in our lives? Isn't that the point? That we want to be happier in our lives. We want to have more joy. I mean, I do. And I definitely feel more joy when I don't take the opinions of other people so seriously. So you have to know who you are, and you have to know how valuable you are, just as a human, as a divine creation who was made to do incredible things in this world. Like, you really were. You were born, with a fire in your soul. You were born with passions and talents. And you were born with the ability to affect other people. You were born with the ability to brighten their day. And so now you get to choose whether or not you're going to do that. Whether or not you are going to use your God-given gifts to bring joy to the world. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to let the hard things in life crush you and bring you down and keep you in that negative space? Because you don't have to stay there. It's a choice to take on that negative energy. It's a choice.